Part 2.
Heck yeah. Y'all ready for this part? Because part 1 was great, but part 2 is even better.
Oh, so again, this is our Purple Lotus Patient Center series, and this is the second episode. And so we speak to a few companies.
Papa and Barkley.
Kanha Treats.
And Lucas, who was the musician at the event.
And you definitely heard him playing in the background, I'm sure. And then also Purple Lotus Patient Center, we talked to Anna Maria. So Papa and Barkley, they were great because they basically told us a bunch of stuff that we didn't realize, like cannabis can't be FDA approved for organic. Their term organic is not allowed with cannabis.
Which was interesting to me, just being a general consumer, that we have to, have that much education for a label. So it was just interesting, and, you can trust them from the get-go.
Definitely. Their whole brand approach is very organic, and it's definitely a different niche that they're filling versus any other cannabis brand. They're killing in the topical game, the tincture game, all that kind of stuff.
And we even just talk general, what does it feel like when you're taking CBD?
Definitely. We even get into medicinal hemp versus industrial hemp. I didn't even know there's two sides of that, so I learned quite a bit actually from this episode.
And then we also talked to Kanha Treats, which was a newfound favorite edible of mine. So good. Great tasting gummies. There's actually a bunch of flavors I've really enjoyed so far, particularly the cherry and the peach.
I tried both of those with you. They were fire. We also talk with them about creating the brand and the culture behind the brand.
Yeah, and just are there edibles, sativa, hybrid, indica, back to the basics and, where they are, where they can be found in other states.
Mm-hmm. And then we speak to Lucas, the musician you hear playing in the background. He was killing it. It was great to be able to get up on the floor after we're done recording and just listen to him play.
Yeah, and we talked about his cannabis use and some of his advice when he would be teaching people how to play music. What's
super cool is he has a teach music online. He does that. And I was tripping about how you actually do that, because that seems extremely hard, not being able to show the student exactly how to do it. But he goes over how he does all that, and it's pretty cool to listen to.
Yeah, he has a YouTube channel as well. And then, of course, we talk about Purple Lotus. So, again, we're so thankful for them having us. But we get to talk to Anna Maria.
Yeah, it was awesome because she was actually a chef before she was a manager at Purple Lotus. And we got to speak to her about how previous work experience can translate into the cannabis industry, what does and what doesn't really translate. So that was really cool just to get that side of the story.
Yeah, and she's won awards as a chef. She's been on TV, so that's awesome too. And just talking to her about, Purple Lotus has really built a community behind cannabis, and you can really feel that when you go there.
Heck yeah. We also speak to them about the vending machines and Cannabis Locker. Can you tell us a little bit about Cannabis Locker?
Yeah, so basically think Amazon Locker. Like when you order something on Amazon, you can basically go to like a post office that has your Amazon box. Same concept. You order your things online, and then you go and pick them up in your locker in the dispensary.
Crazy. So they have some really cool, neat stuff they're rolling out soon, and you won't hear it anywhere else but here.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it. So we're excited. Here's the episode.
Woo!
Woo!
Woo! So how long have you been with Papa and Barkley?
I've been Papa and Barkley since August now.
Okay,
so
cool.
I'm actually pretty fresh.
Nice. Heck yeah. Well, we got you fresh and ready to go.
Well, and I'm curious too, because a lot of people nowadays always say, how do I get into cannabis? How did you find your job at Papa and Barkley?
It has to do with my years of being a cultivator.
Cool.
I've been a cultivator for 10 years now. So I started basically with my medical marijuana license at 18.
Wow.
I'm 28 now, so it's been a long time coming. So that comes with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. So when I applied for the job, was there for them to view, and they immediately picked up on that.
Awesome.
Nice. When did you start cultivating? Like where and when? Because 18 is a young age. I mean, to want to do that at a young age is really cool, but how did you get started doing that?
Getting into cannabis is a whole story, but getting into growing is a whole nother one.
Okay.
I actually began apprenticing to cultivate at age 17, so I was actually apprenticing before that time, just because of who my family was and who I was involved with. We were able to basically there's a medical operation in Fresno, is where I'm originally from, and we supplied a couple of dispensaries there, so
nice.
I was able to get on the ground floor with the producer. He taught me everything there is to know about the But everything he knew, there's still so much more to learn. Every day we're learning more, but it's really cool. So that's how I started, was family friend of my dad's, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wow, that's super cool. So Papa and Barkley, for our listeners, it's a sun-grown cannabis company, and you're very much about the organic culture and like everything, just the aesthetics to the product is very, it's like wooden, rustic. It's very natural sustainability. Yeah.
Well, and their products are, tinctures, edibles, different things like that, where you guys use the sun-grown cannabis, which I thought was interesting and very cool to keep it organic that way.
Yeah, we do have sun-grown flower in Humboldt, and our facility to process the flowers right there in Eureka. So we try and keep that closeness with the community there and build connections. Nice. But the products that we source as well, like the lavender that's in the balm or the eucalyptus and the tea tree, those are some ingredients that are sourced from California.
Awesome.
The beeswax, we just got a big contract with somebody to obtain actually local in Humboldt County. So now we're getting all of our beeswax locally sourced and environmentally sourced as well. So
love it.
If we could put organic on our label, we would, but the FDA still does not approve of our
cannabis
products, so
as
cannot,
organic, or what part is not?
The federal government is who approves organic content.
Labeling, right?
So to go through the feds, they don't acknowledge cannabis as a legitimate product, so you can't actually get certified to be organic yet.
Interesting.
You can push. You can't say it on your labeling.
So I guess is there another word for that they use now?
All natural.
Cool.
Yeah. All naturals. Nice. Naturals we can be. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and I love the story of Papa and Barkley, and just the name was so cool to hear about how it's from Papa and he was in hospice and cannabis really helped get him out of there, and then the pit bull Barkley, which is the dog. Do you guys have a company dog or?
There are several company dogs now. I think Barkley is no longer with us. He passed away, but there are several other now service dogs and worker dogs at the facilities. So yeah.
Nice.
Well, and so what's your favorite product, and what have you really related to as far as using?
It's interesting. Being a cultivator, I originally had made a balm for my grandmother and had made some edibles for my grandfather to help them go through varying forms of cancer. That is my original. So originally the balm was what, oh my gosh, hey, they actually have balm that they sell. Like I'd never seen that before before Papa and Barkley. So besides making one on your own, and that's the founder's story, is making one in a crock pot. So that's I connected with that really well because I'd made it with my grandmother in a crock pot. So I was like, wow, this is crazy, really cool.
Yeah.
That's the product I connected with the most. The one I use the most is the high THC tincture. Our large bottle has like 900 milligrams in it.
Wow.
So compared to buying 9 edibles that served at 100 milligrams a piece, that's basically $200 in value of edibles, whereas the tincture is only about $100. So
wow, I didn't even know that.
You can really save a lot of money. You can even use it to make your own edibles because it's just made with MCT oil, which is broken up coconut oil.
Right.
So you could actually use that to, I want 30 milligrams in 6 cookies. You could do that precisely. Easily dose that. Yeah.
And I'm sure you use it in different ways, but do you typically do the sublingual under your tongue? Do you mix it in a smoothie?
Yeah, me personally, I just put it under my tongue because I don't mind the taste, but there are a lot of people who do mind the taste.
Yeah.
So they'll mix it with like a little bit of milk or coffee or something like that.
Yeah.
So I've never used a tincture before, so I was going to ask, if you can put it in anything that's like water soluble pretty much. So like a tea, like how I would think about using it would be like a nighttime tea or something.
So it is oil based, so it is going to separate from the water.
Okay.
But if you have like a little bit of milk in there, it'll bind to that milk a little bit better. But you just need like a lipid to bind to. It's a lipid, so you need something for that lipid to bind to.
So I also put a little bit of just raw coconut in there, or coconut oil in there. Would that be okay to like bind to?
It would bind straight to that coconut oil. MCT oil is basically, so they would. If you already do that, then as your part of your diet, then you know it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Heck yeah. And I was gonna ask, what is your most popular product with Papa and Barkley?
Right now, our most popular is our 30-to-1 tincture, our high CBD tincture.
Wow.
So that one is 450 milligrams in the small, again 900 milligrams in the large.
Okay.
And that doesn't just have CBD in it; it has CBDG, CBDA, CBDN, those different molecules in it as well. It's a whole plant extraction, so we don't use chemical to bring out anything out of the product. We just use the MCT oil, heat, and pressure.
Cool.
In a way that allows us to extract all of those cannabinoids and bring them into the product.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's what's like some of the things that you see in the industry that the consumers are looking for, or y'all are maybe coming out with new or something like that. What's kind of
psychoactivity?
Okay.
Less psychoactivity. People want pain relief with less psychoactivity. So the THCA product that we have, a 1-to-1 with THCA and CBD, is really effective at balancing out that psychoactivity. The THCA molecule is unactivated THC, so it is not as psychoactive as THC, but is just as pain relieving. So that's something that's coming out. Show a lot of interest with people with that.
That's really cool. I did not expect that answer.
Well, because I think a lot of people worry from the production side that their consumer is going to purchase the product and maybe have a bad experience, get too high, and not come back. So I think that's might be a big reason why we're seeing kind of the shift to the CBD.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I think that's a possibility. Yeah.
Would you say a large amount of your consumer base is a little bit older, kind of like the baby boomer generation, since it's more about geared toward pain relief and kind of the baby boomer generation starting to have arthritis and starting to have these knee back pains? I'm thinking about my parents, for instance, and they are really looking into like topicals and stuff like that, and it's something that they don't have to inhale and smoke, and they feel that stigmatism. It's something that it just looks like a normal product, smells like a normal product, and it helps them way more than what's on the shelves currently at CVS or what have you.
Exactly. It doesn't smell like cannabis. It doesn't look like cannabis. It's not something that they're typically used to seeing. Some of the older generation are typically used to seeing just smoked pot or joints, bongs, stuff like that. But now there's all these whole new lines. Some of them have never seen tinctures or didn't even realize that stuff exists. But interesting, the majority of people in the dispensary, our largest market is 44 years and older. So if that's the market here at the store, then that is who we're after right there. That's a huge impact on people. As you get older, you hurt more. I mean, that's just, we're all young a little bit, we don't have as many pains to deal with, but as we get older, we're definitely going to start to feel that.
Definitely.
But it's interesting. It's like 50-50 where we have a high majority of elderly people, but also athletes, sports athletes, younger people like myself looking to not smoke as much, or like edibles. That's a lot of sugar or fat to consume if you're just trying to not smoke every morning. I don't want to eat chocolate every morning.
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like, it's not what I really want. And there's other options out there for you, but the tincture drops that we have is like a really great supplemental that I really enjoy.
Convenient, discreet,
low calorie.
consistent.
If you're diabetic or if you're vegan, if you have issues finding edibles like that, then this is a great option.
I didn't even think of that. I really didn't even, and especially like in the morning if you're looking to medicate and you don't want to eat a piece of chocolate or something. Great idea. It's just things I never even thought of that tinctures and topicals and stuff like that can be used for.
Well,
so
and
cool.
I'm glad obviously more states are being legalized and the accessibility is out there. Obviously you guys are in California, but where else, and do you guys plan to expand a lot more?
We just I think about last week we just launched our national, it's called Papa's Essential line.
Cool.
And it is a CBD only hemp line that is grown, or we use medicinal hemp out of Colorado. Nice. And we're going to be selling that in all the other states besides California.
Awesome.
So that's something that's available nationwide right now because of legalization of CBD federally. And
so that's online, right?
That is available online.
Cool.
At popupbarkley.com. You can be redirected to that.
That's so cool because coming from the East Coast and being somewhere where it wasn't legal, I also remembered having the stigma of CBD, like, it doesn't get you high. Why would I want to do that? Just because I wasn't informed about it. And learning so much more and seeing all of the medicinal benefits and all of the companies being able to give the accessibility to people everywhere is just awesome.
It definitely is a blessing. What would you say, like, from the hemp derived versus the cannabis derived CBD? Is it just not as a big of an effect, like potency kind of? There's
a wide range of different things there. So when we talk about the hemp industry, there's medicinal hemp and industrial hemp. And those are they're definitely treated totally differently. And then when you compare those two to cannabis industry, I mean, we have to test our balm is more tested than food products.
What? Wow.
Our balm is more tested than food products. So, and that's typical for almost all the flour and hash that's out, or concentrates that are on the floor. they're typically more tested than food products we consume.
Wow.
And so there's something to be said about that alone. So when we start to talk about hemp medically and industrial hemp, there's a lot of variances as far as what the consumer's buying over the internet and what they get into their products. There's basically there's very little regulation on what the CBD content or where it comes from.
Right.
Those kinds of things.
For hemp.
Yep.
Based.
So I've heard some stories from people where they'll call the batch numbers on different tinctures that they buy over the internet because they reacted differently to a different batch, and then they find out, that batch number had way more of CBG in it, or some smaller amount difference that changed it for them because it's not as strictly controlled. So
wow.
Yeah.
So can you delve a little bit more into industrial versus medicinal grown hemp?
Okay, so medicinal grown hemp is going to have a higher production of oils, whereas the industrial hemp is not going to have that same amount of oil production in the CBD specifically. So even hemp has like 0.001 of THC tolerance in those products. It's insanely small, but it's still there in a small amount. So they typically grow all of the other cannabinoids, the CBD, CBN, CBG. Those ones are found in higher concentrations in the medicinal hemp line, from what I come to understand. I haven't studied a whole lot about the medical hemp and industrial hemp differences, but I know that it has to do with the higher concentration of the actual medicinal oils.
Which makes sense because I'm assuming the industrial hemp is used more for things like paper and
fiber extraction.
Yep.
And then the CBD comes as a waste byproduct from that, basically. In industrial hemp, they're not really looking for this. They can get money out of it as a waste material, basically, where they're looking to get it for the strands, the plastic applications, different things like that.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So about the medicinal versus industrial, I didn't even know that there was two sectors.
I think there might even be a division that's a higher quality, but I'm not 100%.
Have you messed around and grown any CBD strains?
No, I have not, but I've been seeing this new wave of zero THC, high CBD strains that are really push the line between what is hemp and what is cannabis. Genetically, it is cannabis, but then it has all of the oil properties of hemp. Exactly. So it's kind of like getting into this weird gray area of genetics and legality.
So interesting.
If I grow cannabis flower that has zero THC in it, or the same amount of THC that's in hemp, why shouldn't I be able to produce or sell that product to market as hemp is?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird area that we're crossing into when it starts talking about CBD strains. Is starting to be a whole new thing. Yeah.
Well, do you have any experience like smoking CBD specifically?
I've had some CBD concentrates that I've had.
Cool.
And those I really enjoy it. And then the CBD tincture that I use that's my most direct experience with straight CBD, is where I can say, this many milligrams gave me this much relief. And I used the CBD balm on my back. So when I used the CBD tincture, I noticed like that only a quarter of a milliliter, which is like 7 milligrams of cannabinoids, really just helped me in a huge amount of pain. It's like lasted me for 4 hours or so of pain relief, where I didn't have to feel like, I should go toke something right now. You know what I mean? So. But the CBD one, that's the most experience I've had with that, is our own tincture. And then I have had a concentrated one that I had in a vape pen once, and that was relieving, but I didn't feel as heavy as an impact as the ingestion.
Well, and what I like to tell people too is, because they often say, well, I don't notice CBD. When you are smoking THC, you're like, I'm high. You notice it, right?
Yeah.
But I like to say it's kind of like taking an ibuprofen. You don't say, I feel the ibuprofen. It's like my headache went away,
Exactly.
It's very cool.
That is a good analogy.
The pain just goes away. You don't feel like a buzz or a feeling in that location where you applied it. It's just like gone.
Yeah.
Poof. It's a blessing.
Well, and what are you excited to see? Like you said, you have a long history of growing and being in the industry. Is there anything you've noticed in particular that you're excited about for, people that smoke or are interested?
More states adding on to legalization, CBD going the way that it is federally nationwide right now. That attracts a lot of interest, and there's a lot of people looking to be healed because the pharmaceutical companies are not providing that relief to people. So cannabis is, and that's something that's really, really changing the market and the way people are going to seek relief.
I agree.
Yeah, and then I would say the more states legalizing, and then I'm waiting for worldwide. That's what I
it'll be
think.
soon.
Yeah,
it'll be
that's what I
sooner than
think.
we think.
Canada just went
You been
full
there yet?
recreational. I've been to Canada when I was younger, but not recently.
We gotta go out there at some point. Check it out.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think Papa and Barkley creates a unique niche because as more cannabis becomes legal, I think the quality will get less because it'll be more industrialized, and maybe the government is growing it kind of like Canada is. So companies like Papa and Barkley, I think, are going to even more so thrive because there's a niche on which people, the connoisseurs, really want to get that high quality stuff, and you're the company to offer it. So it is really cool to see. Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, hey, that's why y'all are still in business and killing it, because y'all have an amazing product. So
Yay,
that's for sure. Heck yeah. So it was great talking to you, man.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah, cool.
Rachel, Austin, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Not a problem, buddy. Not a
Awesome.
problem.
Enjoy. Yeah, definitely. Enjoy.
Good stuff.
But what I wanted to say was I've never tried Kanha until the other night when you went
When I brought them home.
And I was like, I didn't even want to eat one, but she was like, just eat it, just try it. Because we're talking, and I was like, I want to, but I had like some stuff to do. Tried it, it was phenomenal.
Right?
The cherry, he tried the cherry
Nice.
that you recommended. He
So
said
bomb.
that's James's favorite flavor
It was so
right
bomb.
now.
Yeah.
It like melted in my mouth. It was so easy to eat, and like it wasn't like too sugary. It wasn't like too sweet and like too flavorful. It was perfect.
How were the effects afterwards? Did you feel it?
Good. I
said I snuck some into the Sharks game. I was leaving for the Sharks game and gave him one before I left, and I'm at the game and get a text, oh my God, I'm feeling it, Ray.
30 minutes later, he's passed out in his chair.
Exactly. So I would say like my tolerance would be like 40-50 milligrams. That's about it for me, and I tried 10, and I definitely felt it, which usually when I try a 10 milligram thing, I usually don't feel it per se, and like this one I definitely felt it. So it was a nice change of pace, I guess you could say.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's what I
I
like to
thoroughly
hear.
enjoyed it. Yep.
Cool,
So
good stuff.
what treats do y'all offer? Like what is the strains or the flavors that y'all offer?
So right now we currently have 8 flavors in 100 milligram.
Okay.
But we have 2 in the works. And we have 2 flavors in 50 milligrams. We have a 20-to-1 CBD gummy, and we're coming out with a 1-to-1 CBD to THC ratio.
Cool.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Heck yeah. What are some of like the most popular flavors that y'all have?
Definitely watermelon, blue
Okay.
raz, and peach.
Yum.
Yeah.
I want to try that peach.
The peach is really good.
Yeah.
Well, so I was actually just standing back there and people were asking me, oh, is it sativa or hybrid or indica? So can you talk a little bit more about the actual medicinal cannabis that's in the treat?
So the only cannabinoid in the treat is THC,
Okay.
so there's no other cannabinoid. We classify it as a straight hybrid.
Okay.
Eventually, we're going to start infusing different terpenes to create more indica-based gummies and more sativa-based gummies.
Okay.
But right now, we're just sticking with the THC distillate and going hybrid.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Because it's the easiest thing to do at the moment.
Well, and the thing that I love about Kanha, and like I told you, I really like Nug chocolate, is the distillate, because you're not tasting
Yep.
the cannabis, which a lot of people that eat edibles don't necessarily like that sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
great.
Yeah.
Definitely throws me off. Like even I like
you can eat the
planning
whole
stuff.
bag is why.
Yeah. So the fact that Kanha doesn't have that taste to it is
It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
it is.
too.
Exactly. That is a great word for it, dangerous.
Yeah.
So how did you get to working with Kanha? When did you first start there?
Oh, dude, I was just shopping around on Craigslist trying to get into the industry, and I
Nice.
came across this position, interviewed, and joined about a year ago.
Wow.
And it's been amazing ever since.
I love
And
it, dude.
yeah, I started on the production side, worked like festivals, like the Emerald Cup, High Time stuff, and I realized that I didn't want to be on the production side anymore. I wanted to be out in front of people,
Yeah.
and do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where I found the sales position and took off from there.
Cool.
Love it.
And I had no idea people like gummies until I started working for Thunderstorm, as much as they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so what else does, and what did you, I forget what it's called, Summer Storm?
Thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm. So what else is within that? Do you know?
So we have a vape cartridge line and a disposable line
Cool.
under Kanha Win, but we're going through some rebranding right now.
'Kay.
So it might be called
Different.
something different
Cool.
soon. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Are y'all gonna be at Emerald Cup this year?
We sure are. We're doing
Nice.
like an unleashing event. We got a big marketing team working on all this cool stuff that we're gonna unleash. I'm really
Nice.
excited about
We'll
it.
be there. So.
Yep,
Yeah,
we'll be
awesome.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely see you again, which would be great.
Perfect. Yeah.
What's the most frequently asked question they all get about like edibles? Like when you go face to face with these people, do you get a question that you most commonly get often? Or is it kind of just all?
Taste?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why great that you guys can provide the non-medicated samples.
Smart.
Yep.
Which is also good for events like this because you're not necessarily able to give out the infused product, but it tastes exactly the same.
Yep, exactly. You can barely taste the THC in it.
Yeah, that's dangerous because you give me that and the line right there, I'm purchasing swipe. Like, I want that. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What is Kanha looking forward to in the next couple of years? Is there like some products or kind of a vision that they're going for?
Just expand our presence throughout California and eventually go to other states.
Because you're only here?
Yeah, we're only in California currently.
Okay, cool.
I was going to ask you too, I had seen on the Instagram it said California lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, can you talk more about that? What does that mean to Kanha?
Just like the yoga, like chill vibe, like surfer, mellow. That's kind of the vibe that the whole company is all about. Yeah.
I love it. Do y'all do any type of events like yoga or like surfing or anything?
We're working
like that?
on it, so the marketing team is going to put events together like that.
Love it.
Yeah, hopefully like food trucks, team up with food trucks to offer food and like just throw stuff with some of our better accounts, whatnot.
Yeah.
It's always fun because you just get community involvement, I guess you could say, and then more people will hear about it, the more people they talk to.
Cross promoting too.
That's what it's all about, dude.
Exactly.
So I love it.
So when you have somebody that's interested in buying the edibles, and I was just having friends ask me inside, what do you tell them as far as instructions? Because a lot of people don't know. You know,
So
I was just getting asked, well, what's the
question-
dosage?
Yeah,
and
my first question is what their tolerance is like. What are they used to taking when it comes to edibles and whatnot? And then I go based off that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So what if somebody has never taken edible? Maybe they smoked a few times, but they never indulged in edible.
Start with 10 milligrams, maybe even cut it in half to 5 milligrams and go from there.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And even like someone that's never tried cannabis, would you recommend maybe like a fourth, like 2.5 milligram?
Nah.
See, I'm with
5
you.
milligrams is probably like
a minimum, but like at the same time, like he's also said before too, like, I mean, Ray, you can feel 2.5 or if you don't smoke.
If your body has never been.
So it's just interesting to know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's you can always eat more. You can't eat less.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd like to tell people.
And you can't shake it off.
Right.
No, goodness. I think we've all had our fair share of
brownie experiences.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Well, and that's the cool thing about having the accessibility and great companies like Kanha, because they do provide the consistency. Whereas back in the day, we're eating brownies and there's really no way to tell.
Exactly.
Like how much is in it. Even when you're making it yourself and you do, you're very deliberate on only 1 ounce of flour to make the butter. There's still no way to tell if this square is 30 and this one's 50.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's what's at least cool, being able to inform patients on that part at least, and it's consistent.
Mm-hmm. So your favorite flavor is cherry?
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week it'll probably be peach again.
Yeah. Again. The peach one's fire.
That's so funny. Now, when you're not eating gummies, what do you like to medicate with?
I'm a big dabber.
Okay.
Yeah,
Same.
Massive dabber.
Nice, dude. What companies do you like? We don't have to put this on there, but
Raw Gardens, Turquoise.
That's her favorite.
710.
Yep, that's her favorite. Raw Garden and 710. She's all about that, for
yeah.
sure. I like them too, but she loves dabbing, that's for sure. So
you guys are both big at dabbing too?
She definitely is. I'm
Him
more flower.
not as much, but I just got a Puffco Peak and started hitting the
those.
Peak, and he's been dabbing a little bit more with that now.
Nice.
I'm like, yes.
It's a great experience.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's super easy and like I don't know, it's consistent every single time. So
well, that's what we keep hearing about the successful companies in cannabis. Have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the main things I'm hearing.
Quality control is huge right now.
Huge, yeah.
And branding too, like, because a lot of these products are starting to become the same,
Yeah.
So what's going to differentiate them is like the services you provide,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going someplace else with that.
I mean, you can get a 10 milligram gummy elsewhere, but it's the culture and the company behind it is what you stand for.
The branding,
Yep. So it's y'all are creating that, and with like the meditation and the yoga and just trying to embrace that culture. That's huge, because other companies are just giving a product and letting you run with it versus like you go for an experience.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I like Kanha because of that, and obviously the taste.
Yeah.
So that's for sure. But James, is there anything you would want the listeners to know about Kanha, or where we can find you at?
That if you haven't tried them, you need to try them.
For real.
Some of the best tasting gummy edibles on the market right now. You won't be disappointed.
No, hell no.
You can catch us in over 50% of the clubs across California.
Cool.
Damn.
We run promos at almost every of our clubs, at least like once a month.
That's how you guys got me.
Yeah. No,
So
we're
I come
very
in, it was like
grassroots.
BIGO or
Yeah.
BIGO.
BIGO.
BOGO.
We'll edit that out.
That's hilarious. Oh man, but dude, it was a pleasure talking.
Yeah.
To you, man.
Wait,
Heck
last thing.
Go
dude,
ahead.
Yeah.
Those
Go ahead.
big marijuana plants in your backyard.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on with those? Why
Heck
haven't
yeah.
you cut those down yet?
So that was last year's.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Got
So we did do a harvest this year and last year. I made sure that this year they weren't as tall because it was like a job,
A full-time job tending to the garden.
Yeah, like
when
the
they're
last-
above your hands
Yeah.
standing, you
the
know.
last
How do
month.
the neighbors feel about it?
So they don't see it. So out of sight, out of mind. We make sure
They
our
smell
house.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
smell
bet.
it. They smell it. I mean, you can smell it from like 4 houses away. If the wind's going, you can smell it all the way down the block. But no one knows exactly where it's at, and we try to make sure the outside of the house looks normal, and we
Yeah.
aren't like bringing in a whole bunch
You
of
know,
people.
we
in
don't
and
throw
out.
parties or have a ton
That's
of
good.
people, you know,
Right.
like
But the site is the big thing, dude. The fence was like 6 foot high, and we had to extend it to like 8.5, 9 foot high.
add like a lattice on the top of the fence.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, no, that was cut like last October, and this season it was also October timeframe as well. So
But
Okay.
yeah, we're normally planting seeds, end of May?
yeah, yep.
And then
Nice.
cut it down in October.
Yeah.
So,
that's good.
dude, it's so much fun. I love
Yeah.
it. That's my favorite part
I can't
about
wait
cannabis.
to get back to it.
We were
Nice.
just hearing from Ed Rosenthal. He said, I always tell people that cannabis isn't addicting. Smoking cannabis isn't addicting, but growing is addicting.
Yeah.
And I
love
said,
it.
hey, yeah, I mean, we started ours first ones
Yeah.
here 2 years ago.
So cool.
What brought you guys out to California?
Shoot, I was in the military and I was all over the East Coast, and I wanted to see what the West Coast was about. So I visited my aunt in Morgan Hill like 3 years ago for a week, and I was like, you know what, I want to come here and yeah, and at least for a couple years see what it's about. So I've been here now for 3 years, and I really enjoy it. So
Awesome.
it's super cool. It wasn't. This podcast started as of 9 months ago, 10 months ago. So this wasn't like my reasoning for moving over here. Cannabis wasn't even.
How did you guys come up with this idea?
Great question. It's almost like every market, especially like the fitness market or the cannabis market, there's so much misinformation and there's so much BS out there, and like you're getting advertised to, and like we were just talking to Rove versus like solvent free and solventless. Like people don't know what that means. It's just a lot of misinformation that we want to set it straight, and we want to educate others, and that's a big deal to us. So
And we
that's-
just have
that's how we
fun
started.
doing it. Like Austin and I have known each other since high school in Florida. So when he had moved out here 3 years ago, I had, reconnected with him after being in the military and finishing college. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm back in Florida and I'm working and it's fine. But, my parents are still an hour away, and it's just, there's more for me out there. You know what I mean? And he had loved California out here so much. I had family in San Francisco, got a job out here.
Very
And
nice.
Yeah.
for me, I honestly, in the back of my mind, did want to move somewhere where cannabis was legal. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
and I mean the rest is history
Yes,
from there.
exactly.
That's great.
I want to bring up one more thing. Is you said you want to get back into growing. When did you first start, and how did that look?
Like junior year of high school is when
Cool.
I first started at my buddy's house, and we had like 8 plants, and they were all white widows.
Nice.
And
It's my favorite.
We ended up having to cut down 6 of them because they were males.
Wow,
But we still had like a good yield.
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was some of the best flower I've had in a while.
Wow. And this was outdoor or indoor?
Outdoor.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how have you progressed? So you had your buddy's house. Did you grow at your house at all, or?
Dude, yeah, I went to college and then started growing in the garage.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually started with a couple extract artists who are pretty big in the game right now.
Okay.
And then after that, I started working at a little farm in Sebastopol, organic farm. And that's where I started the extraction process
Cool.
and everything.
Cool.
But yeah, dude, I just love being out on the farm and just
I love it, man.
Immersing in the plant and whatnot, and just seeing it evolve. It's just such an amazing plant.
It really is. It's so cool. And that's my favorite part of it, is growing.
And like, there's still so much we need
don't
to
know about it.
Yeah, need to learn about it.
We're finding out so much information every day about the plant. It's crazy. It is a very technical plant. I mean, it's not as simple as everybody thinks. So,
exactly.
Yeah. I tell people growing weed is kind of easy, but growing good weed is hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of variables and energy and time, money you're putting into it. So.
Well, and now with dabbing being so huge, like you and I both know, it's just so interesting, too, to learn about all the different extraction processes and the different consistencies. And
it's evolving so much.
Yeah, it's
every
really
part.
cool, the science.
Yeah, every single part. So we're lucky to be in this era right now to see the tide change of legalization and all the new products. I mean, this is cool. Yeah. So
I always think about like the alcohol prohibition, and I'm like, we're really living
the weed prohibition. Yeah, 100%.
So cool.
It's gonna play out the same way too.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. I can't believe it's taken this long, but hey, we're getting there. So.
And hopefully we'll see you guys in some other states here coming up.
And Emerald
Do you
Cup.
guys have your eyes on anywhere specific yet?
It'd be a new state that would just come on.
Okay, gotcha.
You think that's kind of like your sweet spot, is like hitting a market that's not tapped
new
yet?
And just take over. Yeah.
Smart.
Cool.
Unleash.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, James, it was a pleasure, buddy.
See you at Emerald Cup.
Yeah. I can't wait, dude, for Emerald Cup.
It's the best festival.
Shoot, that's in like less than a month. I know. Sorry about that. So dude, how'd you get started? Being a musician is something that is very, as of a passion, is derived from a passion, I would assume. So.
Well, I didn't have much of a choice, I guess. I mean, I did have a choice growing up, but I grew up in Puerto Rico. I was born in Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is a very musical town, you know. It's, you throw a rock and you'll probably hit a musician, or I want to be a musician, right? Both my brother and my sister were in music schools growing up, and there was always a drum set or a guitar laying somewhere in the house, and then, I just picked them up. And I was the only one out of my family that actually made something with them.
Wow.
It was kind of funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was very much exposed to it. My family has always kind of supported, kind of being the black sheep, because they wanted me to be a doctor and all this cool stuff. But at the end of the day, I was just a musician, and they just supported it.
And hey, do what makes you happy, right? When did you come to California?
2008.
Okay.
It was a very interesting transition, because I came here like 2 weeks right before the recession.
Wow.
Or something like that. And being a musician, that didn't help matters at all.
And you moved to San Jose?
Out of all places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
About 9 years ago. Actually, my wife right there, we've been married for about 9 years, and she has supported me through pretty much everything. She looks at me and I tell her, you know what, sometimes you can drop the hat and just get a regular job. And she's like, no, dude,
do what you love.
Yeah,
keep doing
do
it.
what you love, really.
That's great. So what instrument were you starting, like when you grew up, what did you play?
Drums.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
My initial instrument was drums when I was 12 years old. But from there, it kind of grew into the bass. Then a friend had a guitar that they didn't really like, and I said, dude, I'll buy it for $10. And I started teaching myself. And later on, I got really lucky, because I was doing something like this, just a very simple gig. I was 17 years old, and this dude came by, and he said, you know what, I like what you're doing. Do you think you can teach? And he gave me a job, and he exposed me to all these producers. He got me gigs. But he also taught me how to teach.
Wow.
So that's kind of like
big mentor for you.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, he was a weirdo. Musicians are weird anyways. But he was a really good influence, because he kind of put me on a good track early, because I just wanted to do the whole let's jam, let's drink and whatever. And he's like, no,
let's start business.
Let's learn how to do a business. Learn how to do your music lessons, learn how to give back first, and if that works out, then go crazy, man. Go from there.
Yeah.
So I started a family. I started, I have 2 kids, and I started a music school online, In Home Beats. I don't know if you guys care if I advertise it a little bit.
No, yeah, go ahead.
It's inhomebeatsonline.com, and we just do online music lessons, and the same stuff that you see right here. You want to learn chill music. That's what we do.
That's so cool.
That's awesome, and it's cool that you're able to make it so accessible to people with online, because a lot of kids now too want to learn certain things, but they might not have the privilege that their mom can drive them to a music class 30 minutes away or something like that.
That's very true. Actually, the way that I got started was driving to people's houses. And at that time, that market was kind of like untapped here in San Jose. So it was a good niche to, like really grasp onto. But that's how it started. I started noticing that not everybody can afford a music class.
Yeah.
Not everybody can drive to a music class. So I'm going to go to your house and do it that way. And I started noticing that there's people that can't even afford that. So I started a YouTube channel. I noticed that if I do online music lessons through Google Hangout, I don't have to charge for all these fees that add up because of gas, music.
Yeah.
Everything is online. Everything is paperless. And if anything, we made it that you just pay the instructor for their time, right? And what that has generated is kind of like this enthusiasm that people just go to the YouTube channel to just learn little things from whatever they see. And if they're actually interested in the classes, they take them. But mainly, I just like doing these gigs.
That's so cool. Yeah, in front of people, and you just bring a different spirit out of people. I mean, especially in like a waiting line or waiting room, people aren't in the best mood. Like, it's just a general thing, and it's like that music alone, especially live, it just brings an ambiance to the situation that is untailored for us. So it's pretty cool. So
yeah, I mean, I was happy to get a couple of golf claps.
Nice,
like
nice.
like I was what do you call it? When you go to one of these, you really don't expect much of an engagement because people are not. I mean, you don't go to a shop to, like you're gonna go buy shoes and there's a musician standing there.
But it is a nice added ambiance, but you're right, it's not necessarily something you're gonna interact with per se.
Exactly. So seeing that people kind of broke that barrier and say, you know what, this could become more of a concert kind of feel, so let's just clap for it and interact. It was really nice to see that the audience kind of warmed up to it.
Well, you're able to bring in the fun, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You bring it out in them, so.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
What are some of the musicians in your space that you look up to?
Well, right now, actually, I mean, I grew up with Muse, Metallica, Tool, AC/DC, Ozzy, but I was born in the 80s, right? So by the 90s, I was all into all this metal stuff. But right now, I'm actually kind of pursuing after this artist. Her name is Tash Sultana. She's a solo artist as well, and I was going through a really rough patch at some point a couple of years ago. I have my business, and yes, I'm doing this, but I still feel kind of empty kind of deal because I'm not doing what I thought I was gonna do. And I was playing a video game and I heard this song on FIFA 18, and it was one of her songs. So I go online and start noticing, hey, she does what I do. I play drums, I play piano, I play guitar, and she's 23. And I'm 32. So what's my excuse? So I started kind of following her around, and Tash Sultana has had a very, like many other musicians have had a bigger impact on my style. But in my ability to get past your own mental barriers to go out and actually do it, I would have to say Tash Sultana.
That's
actually
awesome.
The YouTube channel is dedicated to her, like Tash Sultana tutorials and videos and covers and all this stuff. Just as a tribute, because she kind of got me out of a slump and got me going without even realizing. She has no idea who I am, right?
That's so cool, though. Sometimes it's just that little thing that can bring you out of what you're feeling or living through.
Well, and that's like what you're saying, what you try to do, and you probably do unknowingly do for other people.
I hope
so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. That's one of the things we're super passionate about with the podcast is what you're saying, just providing that information and
that's super cool.
Helping them learn.
So since we are under a dispensary roof, can I ask you, do you consume cannabis?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It is something. Yeah, no, that's something that I don't necessarily hide because, to be honest, the way that I see it is if you put a stigma on it yourself, then how are you going to expect people not to do it, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm pretty open. I mean, in the sense that, I have my private space at home where, away from everything and the kids and whatever. But if anybody asks me, it's like, I'm still very productive. I'm still, a functioning piece of this society. And so having that mentality that, cannabis can be both used as an enhancer, as a relaxer, and all this stuff has always benefited not necessarily how I perform my music, but how I feel when I'm performing the music, which I think that delivers a much more powerful message rather than just sitting there and, you know, sober. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, I totally agree. I can relate or feel the music so much more when I'm medicated. I really enjoy it, and that's one of the biggest things. Like I notice is like the music. It just sounds different, and I'm just so much more in tune to it. So I definitely like music and cannabis. I think they go together very nice.
Yeah.
So that's for sure.
When you play music, I mean, it goes together, but there's something about when you actually, you know, you medicate and play the music. Listening to the music, I mean, I got to be honest with you, it gets to the point that it almost makes me sick because I may be too high or something. But at the same time, when you play the music, there's something about the way that you just focus and zone in. Like,
It's like a flow.
There's nothing else around you, right? So if there's like new artists, new musicians are trying to get out there and they feel that pressure, you know, I always tell them, it's like, first of all, do you medicate, do you smoke? If they say yes, and I said, kind of get used to the way that you feel when you're by yourself and kind of create a bubble that you understand everything inside of it, and then take that bubble out into the world and let it pop, see? Because a lot of times, you know, you don't even have to be medicated to have a good time,
right?
But I gotta tell you the truth, you do have a good time when you're medicated.
You did right. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So, in what ways have you seen maybe the cannabis industry and the music industry kind of mold together? Like, have you seen, I don't know, musicians, and do they have like kind of smoke outs or anything like that? Have you seen?
Well, it's something that I've noticed. There's what you call the celebrities are kind of getting on that bandwagon, which is cool. But I also like to, you know, hear from local musicians, and definitely the way that, you know, the approach that is being taken right now, musicians feel a little bit more at ease, because I don't know if you've ever played in front of people, but that stigma that if you're high gets you paranoid, right? So taking that factor out of the way, I've noticed that people have said, you know, I just feel cool, you know, it's like I can just go right there and smoke a little bit and come back, and people are not looking at me like, you know, like look at this drug or something like that. On the contrary, I think that we're many years away from it still, but I think that the culture is starting to really catch up. And the music is really helping out too, because musicians are really taking it upon themselves to let people know that it's okay. It's not this thing that gets you and knocks you on the couch like the commercials say. Right. There's a bad propaganda that's been going around for like what, over 40 years?
Oh, way too long. Jeez. Yeah.
So,
from Reefer Madness. I mean, goodness, when the government did that to us.
I saw that original commercial, the first one that they did. Did you ever see that weird black and white commercial?
Yeah.
You will die.
Yeah. Horrible. Oh goodness, Jesus. That's the total.
And still today, not one.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not one of us.
Exactly.
Not one of us.
To get out of the cannabis field, for new musicians to start, what is one piece of advice you would give them? Maybe I'm sure you say it on your online school, but what is something that you say most commonly toward the new beginner?
Push through it.
Okay.
The main thing is pushing through it. I mean, if you love music, the first thing that I would say is, like, if you're new to music and you haven't really found an instrument, do that first.
Okay.
Because your parents will put you on violin. Your parents are going to put you in some kind of class that is
maybe not for you.
Not for you, yeah. But the thing is, like, normally what happens after that is that you get an instrument, you don't like the experience, you don't like the instructor, so I'm not gonna do music. And there's an fully untapped, you know, potential that you never found out whether or not. And those are the same people that, you know, when I meet them now, they're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they say, I wish my parents had forced me to take those music lessons, because now I would have done something with it. So I think that a good piece of advice is find something that rings, you know, that you feel in tune with.
Okay.
You know, if the instrument doesn't feel right, try another. And keep trying another until you get one that you like. Like, that happened to me, and now today I play 7 instruments that I love.
Cool.
Right?
Yep.
I hated like 6 of them along the way, but you know, over the years you learn to find what it is that you can love about it. And then another thing that you can add to that piece of advice is as simple as find what it is that you can do when you don't feel like doing it. Okay. You know, it's kind of like that discipline. You know, like, you don't really like this in specific, but maybe you can complement it with something that you do so you get your fundamentals out of the way so you can focus on what you actually love as well, right?
I love
Just
it.
making balance out of it, right?
Yep, exactly.
Someone once told me that successful people do the things they don't want to do when they don't want to do them.
That's the definition verbatim of discipline for people that have that mentality. Yeah. Just get up and do it, especially when you don't want to do it. And what that's going to develop is just a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
And once you get yourself in that mindset, you start breaking down walls. It's that simple, right? I wish that it was more common sense or taught across, schools from a young age. But a lot of times you have to wait until you're an adult and life comes around and kicks you around a little bit and you're like, okay, so you are supposed to get up and do that little jog do that little jog in the morning that you don't want to do, and these little things that help out. But definitely, I love that you guys do this. Do you guys travel everywhere to do this?
We're trying to, but we've traveled a few places, but we're branching out. What's nice is we can do this remotely. Like, let's say we have a client or a company that's in Washington, and we can do this via FaceTime. So we would love to travel, but we can also do it remotely as well, which is nice.
And we've loved having you too. Thanks so much for being on. Great energy, great music.
I have one more question for you.
Yes.
How did you get the name Melodic Heels? Is that how you pronounce it?
I was high.
Okay. I love it.
No. It's as simple as that. I was what do you call it? I was looking for a YouTube channel name, and I play video games, Xbox, and all this stuff, and my gamer tag is Melodic Heels. Simply because every time that I'm online, I like to. It's kind of like the same concept as you get trolls online, all that stuff. Instead of trolling, I just get on a party chat or online chat or whatever and start playing the guitar. And kind of like here, just waiting to
cool.
you see like literally the avatars from the characters running around. The dude stops right here. You're the guy playing the guitar. It's like right here, dude. And you see people online.
So sick.
Wow.
Like a game like PUBG, for instance, that is free mic. You start playing the guitar, and you see all these characters that it turns into a concert. People forget about the game. And I have tons of videos doing that. The melodic portion is obvious. The heels just kind of comes along with my personality. I just always try to really help out people and have that healing factor whenever I, reach out and touch somebody.
I can feel it, dude.
Thank you.
It's a blessing.
I love it.
Thank you so much for being on
It's
the
been great
podcast,
having
man.
you.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
I used to be a chef before this.
That's awesome.
I was an executive chef in downtown Chicago.
Cool.
Oh wow, that's something else. Yeah, you can
different.
adjust those.
I can hear you guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what food do you like to make? What do you
I
specialize
love to
in?
do seafood.
Yum.
Anything seafood is great. In Chicago, it's all steak based, so it's big steak houses. I was working for them for about 11 years before I
Awesome.
moved here.
Nice, that's really cool. So when did you get into cannabis?
Actually, I got into cannabis about a year ago.
Okay.
Into like the actual business of it, but I've always been a cannabis user for a very long time.
Okay.
I usually only dabble into like edibles and tinctures and more CBD products. But since I've been working with the dispensary, I've now dabbled into like actually trying dabbing and rolling my own pre-rolls and different flowers and learning so much about them. So
Right. So what's your favorite method to medicate now?
now it's still edibles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I still like edibles. I try all sorts of different stuff. I
Okay.
realize chocolate isn't my best friend, so more towards like the gummies.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now I just go towards capsules because then
okay.
it's a little bit easier on my stomach.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What would you even say is like you have nothing to do on a Friday night? How much edibles are you going to eat?
Yeah. Well, what's your tolerance?
Well, my tolerance is actually quite high.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
interested.
So it's surprising. So within the last year, I used to just do 10 milligrams, and that was a little bit too much.
Okay.
And that's like me going to sleep, not hanging out with friends now. Almost like on a daily basis just to go to sleep. I do a 25 milligram
Wow.
capsule.
Okay.
So like if I'm going out and about, it's going to be more towards like the sativa end type, and it's probably going to be like 20 milligrams.
Yeah.
And it's like getting good buzz, but
Cool.
still being able to not slur my words or
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
slow. I just feel really giggly.
And
So
what would you say some of your favorite brands of edibles or products?
right now, my go-tos right now are going to be the punch chocolates.
Okay.
Those are, I know chocolates are not my best friend, but those are so good. And they require a very, very small amount of chocolate, but they're condensed and they taste really good. You can barely taste the cannabis in there, which is good.
Love that, yeah.
The cannabis flavor can be a little overwhelming sometimes. And then the capsules are through Absolute Extracts right now, which are, they just made, or we just started carrying we were carrying the 10 milligrams, but now it's 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams, and 100 milligrams capsules. And they come in a 10 pack. So, I mean.
So I have a bottle of the 100 milligram capsule 1,000 pack at my house. And I had strep throat like months ago and I couldn't smoke. And I was miserable, so I would just pop one of those and I was out.
You sleep all day?
Yeah.
I was out with the flu for 10 days. Ugh. Edibles, I mean, those capsules were like my
lifesaver.
Yeah, I rested. I slept so much. You don't realize how much like sleep is important to you.
Yeah.
Super, especially when you're sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, your immune system's under attack.
So
and,
crazy.
And you obviously don't want to smoke when you're sick. Edibles, sometimes you don't even want to eat. So definitely just taking a little sip of water in a capsule.
Yeah.
So
or
much
the
easier.
little edible will induce your hunger, you know, because when you feel sick, you don't want to eat.
Right.
Exactly. That's the reason why I actually was medicating while I was sick, because I had absolutely zero
appetite.
Okay.
Zero appetite. So.
When did you start working for Purple Lotus?
So I started a year ago.
Okay.
Actually, my first official date was the 28th of December.
Nice.
Wow,
So
that's
I'm
coming
up on my
up.
year.
Nice.
Oh.
Started off as a consultant with them.
Okay.
I actually used to cook for the owners, and
Cool.
that's kind of how I ended up fitting myself
Great.
into here. Yeah.
Right.
But it's very similar to running I've had a lot of experience with restaurants, so it's very similar with the same operation standpoint.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Front of house, back of house,
Well,
Okay.
that's interesting to know, because I think that's not a misconception, but people still want to know, how is it to work in cannabis, and can you take your industry experience from somewhere else, and does it translate?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. I mean, I just created we as a team created a new training program.
Okay.
So when we hire someone, we mainly hire, they don't need to have a lot of cannabis experience. We're hiring more so like restaurant hospitality experience.
Service.
Yeah, customer service, retail service, restaurants. Like biggest thing is, making sure that you can talk to the guests.
Yeah.
'Cause we
Make
consider
them feel
everybody here.
comfortable.
Yeah, I guess for sure.
What does your average patient look like? Like, not as far as looks, but what do they want? Or like, what's just the trend that you see as of recently?
So as of recently, the biggest thing is, how do edibles work?
Okay.
Like I get a lot of questions like, what are edibles, or what is CBD? Within the last month or so, we've definitely got more inquiries about CBD products, because a lot of people don't want the psychoactive effects of it, but they want relief so badly. And like ibuprofen and Tylenol, all those things really hurt your liver, and people have seen a little bit better, difference within their bodies, and that's like mainly the main question that I get. Yeah.
What's the biggest symptom? Because I think anxiety is probably one of the biggest ones, but have you seen another symptom that's very prevalent that you see quite often?
Anxiety is one, but sleep.
Okay.
Sleep is like the number one thing that we get here. Anxiety, not so much depression, but more so like
Maybe anxiousness, kind of.
Yeah.
You just want more of a balance.
Yeah.
Like, you're not necessarily depressed, but you kind of want to be lifted up, I guess.
A lot of uplifting, more mood changing, positive mood enhancers mostly.
Definitely.
Like what's gonna make me feel giggly? What's gonna make me feel a little bit less, stressed out, or kind of chill a little bit, because my mind can be racing. Like I want something that's not gonna make me think all these things, but relax my body.
Right.
So you're gonna kind of guide the guest. We're not doctors, so we can just recommend based on our own personal experiences and what we've learned here. Having Ed Rosenthal here has been,
So cool.
Having him being here is going to be amazing. So
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and that's another thing I've loved about Purple Lotus is the little things, like over there, how you have the tea, and it's just a better experience. It's welcoming.
It's
And that's what people want.
100%, and it adds up, and you'll have a community, which is really nice. And you do a lot of events. Getting out in the community is big. So
yeah, we're a big local supporter here. Before recreational started, we used to do a lot of charities. We used to donate a lot of things for kids, like leukemia walk. We used to do like the backpack drives, like for schools and stuff. But ever since now that we are recreational, rules have changed, so
Yeah.
we can't really help the communities around here. So we've had to adapt and be creative on how we can get out there and let them know, like, we're still here to support you, and we care about everybody that's here, everybody that has been here. The majority of the alumni members have been with us for 8 years.
Wow.
Since locations before that, they're very loyal.
Very loyal. I see people coming in here. Hey, bud, what's going on?
Everybody
what's
knows
up,
their
man?
name.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And that's what you want going into a dispensary. It's scary when you're first. You don't know what to expect.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
To the new user for sure. So
We definitely want to destigmatize how cannabis is viewed, because nobody really there's not a lot of research happening, right? Because it's federally not regularly regulated.
right. So it's still Schedule 1. Yeah.
So until that changes, we'll be able to see a lot more information, actual information about what's going on with your body, how beneficial it is for you, and hopefully destigmatize that, and people can start, taking advantage of all the benefits that cannabis has for you, because it's really good for you.
Yeah.
100%. I agree.
It's natural, and putting all these extra chemicals, pharmaceutical stuff for me, I
Ridiculous.
had to take a lot of, anxiety is a big thing in this new year.
Yeah.
Like stress, your job, your kids, everything that's going on, and drinking isn't good for your life.
Right.
It has so many bad side effects. So we've actually seen a lot of people who come in here and say, I used to drink and I don't drink anymore
I love
because
it.
I do this.
Or smoke cigarettes, or other
love
bad
that.
things. What's your favorite part about working out at Purple Lotus?
My favorite part about Purple Lotus is how many people I get to touch. Like when I was a chef, nobody would really see me unless I went and I touched the table.
Yeah.
And then when I did, they're just like, you're so little. Like, where's the real chef? And I'm like, are you just, the little person?
Yeah.
I can fit you
They
in my
don't
pocket.
expect it.
That's hilarious.
And it's great to be part of those memories, like the food that they eat.
Yeah.
They now can connect that feeling to that memory. Same thing here. So whenever I get to talk to a customer, I call them guests, because they're really guests, or they're coming into our home
Right.
to come and explore and check us out, and take time from where they're living, driving all the way down. Our parking situation, it's a little tight, so we care about every single person that comes in here. So being able to touch everybody that way,
That's so cool.
and relaying that message is kind of like, hey, thank you
Super
so much.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
cool that you're able to translate your industry experience over to this as well.
It's crazy how similar it is.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I know front of the house, back of the house, and you kind of have that here. What are other ways that are similar to that you see?
I mean,
Obviously,
biggest
consumer
thing-
experience.
Consumer experience is
Yeah.
a big one. But just product knowledge. It's like learning a new menu.
Yep.
Like you're doing retail, but these are things that people are gonna consume.
Right.
So you better know the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
100%.
So knowing that stuff.
Well, and it's always good when you can say from your personal experience too, because people just want to be able to have that trust.
Yeah. And it makes a big difference. I mean, all of our employees get to try products that we sell. Sometimes we don't get to try them right when we get the item, but
Right.
we do get to try them afterward.
Yeah.
And that makes such a huge difference, from packaging, from the smell of it, from the looks. Would you recommend this? Would you not recommend it? And then we send that stuff over to our vendors, and our vendors collect all that information. I've been
You're helping
adapting.
them too.
Yeah, because it's all research.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is all new. It's a new industry technically,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And in order for us to be able to grow, all this extra stuff needs to happen.
Well, and having that mindset is so important, and that's one of the things we've noticed and loved about the cannabis community is just all the camaraderie and the working together, and you help me, I'll help you, and that's the only way we're really gonna get to where we want to be.
Right.
So
I definitely think caring for the bud tender and having the bud tender in mind is important, because they are the first people to talk to the patient, the consumer, and they're ultimately kind of guiding their experience. So having them try their product beforehand, I think, is very optimal, just because it allows them to reciprocate the information they know and their experience on that product. So I think that's really cool, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
So what's next for Purple Lotus? What do you see in the next year or two that you're looking forward to?
I've been working really hard on getting things up in here. So we're getting a vending machine for
Nice.
our
Wow,
grasshopper.
cool.
So we'll have that here in a couple weeks. Hopefully, no more than a month. But we'll be able to, if you, instead of waiting in line, if you know what you want, you just come in, hit that vending machine up. It's a cash right now only.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to get in, get out. You don't have to wait. You can still do your pre-orders. So we still have that. We also have Grasshopper.
I saw that'll be like a 3-minute transaction time type thing. So that is great if you're in a rush or you just want to come in on your lunch break or something really quick and you already have the cash anyway, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's super simple and easy, especially if you just want like one pre-roll.
Right.
And you're waiting in line and, you know, you don't want to rush the customer.
Right.
Because that's their experience. They came all the way out here. You want to be able to be genuine with them. So for someone who's standing in line already knows what they want, it's going to be so great to have that vending machine here.
Well, and I noticed Grasshopper had a few different things in addition to the vending machine. Starting with that, you guys are trying that out
we're trying out
first?
the vending machine first.
Okay.
We want to get 2, but we're starting off with 1, and then we're coming out with basically, it's very similar to like the Amazon locker.
Okay.
You order online, and then you come and pick it up. It's in your locker.
They have lockers, that's
you know,
what they
you enter
do.
your code. But
Very cool.
right now we're on a hold because of the fact that federal funding when it comes to banks. So in order for you to be able to place your order online, you have to have that support from a federal bank.
Right. Oh,
So that's why
okay.
it's right now that's where we're going to do the vending
And
machine.
it's so
cash.
interesting because the basic consumer doesn't know all of the back office stuff like that, you know? It starts to get complicated.
Yeah.
But the locker thing is cool and great because it is very like when you're online ordering and you do have the separate pickup window to speed up the time, similar with the locker. But it also minimizes the interaction if you're that person that just wants to be in, you know where you're going, grab your stuff, you're out.
It's like going to the bank,
Yeah.
you know? You just deposit your money, you're in a hurry, you know, you have a lot of things going on. Sometimes you don't want to talk to someone, that's totally fine. You know, but when you do, we have a consultation line, you know, so.
And being able to cater to those different types of people is why you guys have such a big customer base.
Yeah.
Big following, yeah. And I mean, we have such loyal customers, you know. That's like the biggest, I haven't seen that for me. And in retail, I used to work for Best Buy for a very long time. And so I have a lot of different, you know, background skills when it comes to that, but it's so amazing to see how beautiful it's growing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So where can everybody find you? What's Purple Lotus's address? Just so the listeners know.
So Purple Lotus is located off of Commercial Street, 752 Commercial Street, San Jose. 95112. We're open every single day from 9 to 9.
Cool.
Those are the hours we're allowed to open. If anything changes within the city, then maybe we can open a little longer.
Okay.
Like in different states. You know, Colorado has dispensaries that are open till like midnight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Vegas got 24 hours.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy how. But San Jose is one of the
First.
It's so strict. So we're really actually blessed to be in a place where it's such a strict place. So if we go anywhere else,
It'll be easy.
it's just easy,
Yeah.
you know, because a lot of places are kind of struggling in their field because if you go to LA, the regulations are a little bit different by the city than they are versus state.
Right. Yep.
So being able to have that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of illegal dispensaries down in LA. I mean, a lot of them got, like, last week kind of got their, like, 30-day notice per se. But, it's still a changing world every single day.
Yeah.
So it is pretty cool.
And then, of course, I know you guys have Instagram, Snapchat.
We have Snapchat, Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter.
Cool.
We have YouTube channel too. We have
Purple Lotus Patient Center.
Purple Lotus Patient Center, yes.
There we go.
San Jose.
Nice. Like, yeah, I'm looking at this right now, this little roll of tray. That is so cool.
Yeah, we have
Great
an
idea.
in-house graphic designer. She creates everything. Her name is Natalie. She is so amazing.
Cool.
We just give her some stuff and like come up with something and see what you can do.
Yeah. I love it.
She's
I
great.
love it.
Yeah.
If you were to say anything to the listeners about Purple Lotus or anything coming up, the floor is yours.
We have a lot of things happening here. We got a spring break happening, so we'll be digitalized when it comes to rewards. Right now we have a punch card. People lose those punch cards, you know, a lot of money that's being spent you can't really track, so now we're going to be able to have that. Vending machine, we're going to have that. We're going to remodel our actual interiors. We're going to be tearing down some walls so to make the space a little bit larger. And we're looking forward on opening up a second dispensary in the Bay Area. So that's
in
our
the
goal.
Bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know if it'll be north or south of here?
Most likely north.
Cool.
We're looking at like San Francisco, Hayward
awesome.
area. Yeah.
Cool. That's
So,
big time right
that's
there.
in
I
the
was
works.
gonna ask that, but I wasn't sure if that was getting too close to the privacy. So.
No, I mean
Yeah.
we do want to open up a second dispensary right now. We're just trying to figure out like location wise, but
Gotcha.
our goal is to get another one up. and going.
Awesome.
We definitely have the following, that's for sure. I
Yes.
mean, if you have patients that live more north, I think they'd love to travel to that one. So
Yeah.
that's for sure. Can't wait. Well, y'all are doing some exciting things here, and we're very lucky to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
thanks
out
so
here.
much.
Thank you. It was great, Ann.
Oh, my pleasure.
Great having you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to America's Podcast. If your goal is to be informed on current cannabis news, educated on the newest laws and regulations, at the same time be entertained by your crazy but relatable host, you're in the right place. If you enjoyed the show, please share our passion with others so we can better inform the whole world. We would highly appreciate if you subscribe and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and by mentioning us to your family and friends. As always, we love hearing and interacting with you. Please continue to ask us questions and to keep us updated on your cannabis journey. We are here to inform, educate, and entertain the whole cannabis community on Earth. Maybe one day we will branch out to Mars. If you'd like to inquire about advertising with APC, email us at info@americaspodcast.com. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is APC, America's Podcast.